I have this cute little headband with bats on, but you can't see it because when I step, it's out of frame. But I was gonna wear it for my wrap-up because it's freaking bats. I love Halloween. I actually don't love Halloween. I don't like being spooked. So I just wanted to show that, like, look, I was trying to be festive, but it's out of frame. So unfortunately, the festivities are now over. Oh, hello, I'm Cass. This month I managed to read 13 books, and let's dive into the first segment of this video, which is literally just going to be me talking about Spy Family briefly. I 5-starred all the books other than book 6. Was not my favorite compared to all the other ones. I 4-starred that one. And I have a reading vlog actually where I read the entirety of Spy Family spoiler free. So if you want to check that out, you know, it's on my channel. You can find it. And this is such a fun manga. I'm not super into like high action mangas, so this was like the perfect mix of action and cute little moments. And I love Anya so much. And I don't want to go too into detail with these because one, like, I'm pretty far into the manga. I'm literally caught up. I think the first time ever in my life I've been caught up with a manga. And I have a whole reading vlog on it where I can discuss my thoughts. And I'm really excited for book 9 because Becky, one of my favorite characters, is going to be on the cover. And she's adorable, so that's exciting. I plan on buying my own copies of Spy Family. These are my sister's copies. She kindly loaned to me, and I will be purchasing my own copies of these though, because can you imagine how cute they're gonna look on my shelf? I'm so excited. But yeah, I 5-starred all of them except for book 6. I really enjoyed them, and essentially Spy Family is about this spy, Lloyd, and he has to go undercover to infiltrate this school, and in order to do so, he needs a child. So he goes and he finds a child to fake adopt, and that child happens to be a telepath. And then to get into school, he realizes he also needs a fake wife, and so then he goes and finds himself a fake wife who also just happens to be an assassin. So you have an assassin mother, a spy dad, and a telepath kid. And seeing Anya interact with her parents is entirely just so batshit because she can read their minds. And so when they're thinking about like, ooh, killing people, or like, ooh, I'm a spy, I gotta keep secrets, she's like, what? And she's so dramatic, and oh my goodness, Tatsuya Endo has such talent when it comes to facial expressions with Anya and with the characters, and I just immediately wanted to reread this the second I finished. So instead, I am satisfying that craving by watching the anime, and I'm loving it. It is equally as cute, and it just brings me so much joy. Next, I finished reading The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang. Now, I read most of this book last month, and then finally finished the last 200 or 300 or 400 or so pages. I don't remember like exactly the split of what I read. I will never shut up about R.F. Kuang, and I say that in so many videos where I'm just like hyping her books up. And this is one author that I 100% believes deserved all the hype that happened around TikTok and why the Poppy War got popular. And there are few series where sequels manage to impress me, because typically the first book is solid in a series, it gets really popular, and then the sequel just flops so incredibly hard. And this book was equal if not better than the first book. I think it was a little slower in the beginning and it took me a little bit to get into, and I'm just used to that though because there's so much political things happening in this book that it's a lot to keep up with, and it has to be slow moving because the scale that everything is set on. Oh my goodness, I cannot wait to read the third book, which will probably be happening next month, so I'll just read one a month. But these books are not meant for everyone, but if you like political fantasy, do yourself a favor and be traumatized by this book. The ending killed me. It ripped out my heart, squashed it, and then just expected me to be okay after that. I literally read it late at night, and I got up and I was like pacing my apartment because I just had all this emotions just curdling through me because of what happens at the end of this book. And yeah, get attached to no one, trust no one, and enjoy your time in the Poppy War universe. I am incredibly excited for the finale. I have really high hopes, which is always scary because I hate going into books with high expectations, but R.F. Kuang has yet to disappoint, and I'm I'm so excited to read The Burning God. 5 out of 5 stars. I think I mentioned that. I don't think I mentioned that. 5 out of 5 stars. Incredible. Cannot wait to pick up the 3rd book. Also, these covers are literally my favorite things. So yeah. Next, I wanted to discuss 2 books that I 2-starred. One of which was Bunny by Awad. Now, Bunny was outside my comfort zone, and that was the point. And the fact that I enjoyed reading through the Reddit theories more than I enjoyed reading this book really said something. I don't think that this is a book that if you want to dive out of your comfort zone, you should go for, because it is just like batshit wild. And it makes no sense whatsoever, and I was extremely disappointed because, one, the writing just did not do it for me. I think it felt very elementary, which is funny considering the contents of this book are like wild. What I heard Bunny described as was it was like normal for the first half, and then it just like goes like crazy and off the rails for the second half. And I don't think it even made it like halfway. I think it was like a third of the way in. Everything was semi-normal, but still like really weird and made no sense. I just didn't really enjoy the writing style. And then when all the crazy things started happening with the bunnies, I just didn't care and was confused. And the open ending that I was promised wasn't like super open. I was just like, okay, that torture is finally over. And then I went and I read some of the Reddit theories, which were like very interesting. So if you have read Bunny and you are kind of disappointed, still do yourself a favor and go to Reddit and read everyone's theories, because they are wild. And then the other book that I 2-starred, I actually gave 2.5 stars, and that is We Could Be Villains by Megan McConnell. Now, she is a book cover artist that I actually followed on Instagram, and this is her debut novel. And I think it really reads like a debut novel, unfortunately. I didn't go in with high expectations, I will say that, because I'm always very tentative and wary when it comes to debut books, because either they're gonna set the expectations really, really high, or they're gonna be, you know, read like a middle grade book, which is what this I think is. If this isn't targeted towards middle grade, I'm calling bullshit, because I think it definitely is. This follows our main character, whose name I literally cannot remember, but I know it just annoyed. Was it Rosalie? Rosalind? I just remember not liking the main character's name. Rosemary. Rosemary Collins. Basically, she is a super fan, nerdy geek about this one franchise, this like superhero, supervillain franchise, and turns out that, this really isn't a spoiler, but turns out that the superheroes are actually real and the movies are like covers for real fights that they have. And there were too many points during the plot where the author was just like, believe this. And let me just brush this under the rug, because I remember at the end there was like this big fight, right? And they had to like get the movie edited. They were talking about getting the movie edited in like 3 weeks or something crazy, time period wise. And I can believe a lot of things, but that I think just wasn't it, because being someone who edits videos, I know how long it takes to edit things, and it doesn't matter how good your technology is, which is like the excuse that they used, was they had high-tech technology. And I don't care how good your technology is, it still takes time to edit things together and like watch all the clips and make sure everything's good. And that really didn't work for me. And it was very elementary. I think if you have a kid, or if you are a kid who likes Marvel or superheroes or like geeky things like that, I think this is really good for middle grade, because Megan McConnell does make quite a few like Marvel references, and it's really into that sort of spectrum of like being a super fan about a movie franchise or like TV shows and stuff like that. And I think that is one of my pet peeves for me personally. Ironically, I don't like when media like that is mentioned a bunch. I had that problem in Better Than the Movies. They made so many references to music and movies and such like that, and it annoyed me. And even though I knew that the same thing would be true in this book, I thought I had got over my dislike for that, but apparently not. So if you're a middle grade reader, or you're a fan of middle grades and you're a little nerd or a geek, I definitely recommend this book, because I like wanted to enjoy it. I really did. I just didn't really connect with any of the characters, but I think it has potential. I think she really has potential as a writer, And it is a planned trilogy if she gets the book deals. And the format in which this was written was also very interesting because at the beginning of each chapter there was like an interview with the main villain, and then it all eventually connected and kind of caught you up in the timeline. So that was pretty cool, but that was a 2.5 from me. Then I have These Violent Delights, which I ended up giving a 4.5 by Chloe Gong. Now, Katie and I, this was the Wyverns Words book club, book choice, and so Katie and I already have an entire hour-long live show where we discuss this, which I literally just wrapped up. So if you want to hear my extended thoughts instead of the SparkNote versions, you can definitely go give that a watch. But 4.5, I think it started out a little bit too slow in my opinion, and there's this like disease spreading, but the way it spreads is like icky. And the romance isn't like super heavy in this book. You're really like picking at crumbs, I'm gonna be honest, if you're looking for a book that is super into romance. It's supposed to be a Romeo and Juliet retelling, which is like fairly accurate at this point. I don't know if the romance is gonna get better in the second book, but because this is a duology, so it has time to get better. But I really like the politics between the two rival gangs, and I love the environment of this being in Shanghai in the 1920s, I believe. 1926. Yep. I love it. I love when Juliet is like wandering the streets and the descriptions and everything. So it was a 4.5 for me, but if you're not a fan of political fantasy and you're looking for more romance, you're not really gonna find this in These Violent Delights. But again, if you're into political fantasy, this is pretty solid. And the last book I wanted to discuss was A Year in Tokyo, an illustrated guide and memoir of 13 magical months spent exploring the city of ginkgo leaves. Now, is it ginkgo? I feel like I've been saying it wrong, but I also might be saying it right. Let's find out. We're good, I said it right, ginkgo. This is by Christy Ann Jones, who is a YouTuber, who is also a writer, obviously, and a book nerd who, you know, makes pretty, like, gorgeous, aesthetically pleasing YouTube videos. Literally, I want to emulate her style so bad. They're so pretty and so relaxing, but unfortunately, I am too chaotic to make relaxing reading vlogs, so maybe one day I'll be able, I really want to make like a relaxing fall reading vlog, but the chaos is just too strong. It just oozes out of me. I can't stop it. Anyways, I gave this 5 stars, and obviously it's not really tailored for everyone. I am going to Tokyo, Osaka, and Kyoto in May of 2023. So I thought, what better way to learn a little bit more about the country and about Tokyo than reading someone's memoir about living in Tokyo for a year, who's literally the person who's going to be the tour guide. So that's pretty snazzy. It's an illustrated, like an illustrated guide. So it has all these like beautiful, cute little doodles all over the place, and pictures were included, and her experience was so lovely and so inspiring. I really want to read the last paragraph in this book because it is just so inspiring, and it's literally like what I want to do and what I want to be able to do with my life, and I'm gonna just shut up and read it. I urge you, if you can, leap outside the bubble of where you grew up. The experiences that allow us to grow the very most as people are often the ones that terrify us. If I, the anxious patron saint of imposter syndrome that I am, can move to the other side of the world without a plan, job, or place to live, then you too can take the leap beyond your comfort zone. Go out into the world, experience the beauty, the diversity, the nuances, and enthralling complexities of this planet we live on, and the people we're lucky to share it with. And for this literally just being like an illustrated guide and a memoir, her writing is so lyrical, and it is just stunning, and I don't know, I want to recommend it even though I know it's not for everyone. But if you are a fan of Christy Ann Jones and you've watched her YouTube videos, I mean, it's worth a read. It's worth a read to understand her experience, and I'm really excited because I wanted to read this before I watched all her YouTube videos about living in Japan, and I'm excited to now be able to go and do that. So 5 out of 5 stars. It was a spectacular read, but again, I'm biased because I'm a fan of Christy Ann Jones and I'm going to Japan, so I'm biased. But these are all the books I read, plus obviously the 2 books that I read digitally. Well, I didn't actually read Bunny digitally. I unhauled it immediately after I finished it, so I didn't have a book to hold up while I did this wrap up because I did not enjoy it at all. But yeah, these are all the books that I read this month, and I really hope that you enjoyed this reading vlog. Reading vlog? This is not a reading vlog. A reading wrap up. I hope you enjoyed this wrap up. I actually was in like a mad reading slump this month, which like you can't really tell, but this is a tiny book. This book I finished at the beginning of the month before I got into a slump, and then these Violent Delights like I had to read for the book club. But Spy Family was such an easy read, and every time I was in a little bit of a slump, I would like pick up the next volume and then read a little bit of something else. So I don't know. I hope November is a little bit better to me. I tried to manifest a good October, but that did not happen. But I hope that y'all had a lovely reading month. Let me know your favorite book that you've read this month. And if you want to let me know your least favorite book, you can do that too. Also, I feel like I've lost the ability to like speak and enunciate. So if this vlog has some weird words that I pronounce kind of crazy, I'm so sorry. I don't know what's wrong with me. I think it's the lack of sleep catching up. But thank you all so much for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Comment down below like I said. And subscribe if you want to see more chaos and book related content. And I really hope to see you in the next one. Toodles!